On Global TV News Express headlines, Tinubu appoints new board management for Hajj Commission. Shettima intervenes in Benue APC crisis. IGP orders deployment of additional police personnel along Abuja-Kaduna Expressway. Supreme Court upholds election of Governor Eno. Plus, hundreds dead as Congo River Basin rises to highest level in 60 years. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global TV. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson, now the news in full. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the appointment of a new board and management team for the National Hajj Commission, NATCON, pending confirmation by the Nigerian Senate. This was announced in a statement by the presidential spokesman, Ajiri Ngelale. Those appointed included Jaleh Arabi as chairman, Aliyu Abdulrazak, commissioner, policy personnel and finance, Anofi Elegusi as commissioner, operations, and Professor Abubakar Yagwe as commissioner. Planning and research membership drawn from the geopolitical zone included Dr. Muhammad Umaru Indagi, North Central Abba Jato Kala, Northeast Mohammed bin Othman, Northwest Tajuddin Oladekbo Abafe, Southwest Aisha Obi Ahmed, Southeast others were Zainab Musa, South Professor Musa Inua Fodio, Jama'atu Nasir Islam, Professor Adidimes Mohavs Adebola, Supreme Council on Islamic Matters. Vice President Kashim Shettima has appealed to warring stakeholders of the All Progressive Congress, APC in Benue State, to bury their hatchet for the development of the thrive in the state. The Vice President made the appeal during his visit to Markadi to flash up the macro, small and medium enterprise MSME clinics. Political observers had said the crux of the crisis lies on the doorstep of the state governor, Hyacinth Alia, and his perceived godfather, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF Senator George Akume, over alleged control of the party structure in the state, with their loyalists doing the exchange on their behalf. However, Shettima stressed the need for peace to prevail in its political space. The Supreme Court has scheduled Friday, January 12, 2024 for judgment in the governorship dispute of Kano State between the APC and NNPP. Abakari Yusuf, a member of the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, was declared winner of the Kano State governorship election held on 18th March by Nigeria's Electoral Commission, INEC. However, the All Progressive Congress, APC, had challenged the outcome of the election, alleging electoral malpractices and asking its governorship candidate at the poll, Nasiru Gawuna, be declared winner of the election. The Kano State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal and the Court of Appeal in Abuja upheld Gawuna's case and nullified Governor Yusuf's election. Over now to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC Akwa Ibom Command says it has apprehended 8 suspects for offences ranging from abduction of minors, child labour and illegal mining in different operations in the state. The state commandant of the NSCDC, Eluyemi Oluwade, disclosed this at the command's headquarters in Uyo on Thursday. The commandant said the suspects involved in the abduction and child labor will be handed over to the relevant agencies on the conclusion of proving the investigation, while the illegal miner will be charged to court. Eluwade called on Akwa Ibom people and residents to shun all forms of crime, as the command would not hesitate to arrest and persecute all criminals to keep the state safe. In a bid to get to the bottom of how humongous cash was moved from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation to private hands, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has extended its probe to directors and other key officials of the ministry and its agencies. The top officials were summoned by the Anti-Graft Agency to meet face-to-face with the suspended minister, Betta Edu, the suspended coordinator of the National Social Intervention Program, Halima Shehu, and top rank officials whose vaults were used in custodying the huge cash without reporting to the authorities in keeping with financial reporting protocols. They were invited based on the fact that some of those interviewed earlier mentioned some of them as having played one role or the other, and will summon them based on our determination to get all facts and arrive at a decision that will be fair to all parties. The Central Bank of Nigeria and CBN has appointed new executives to oversee the affairs of Union, Keystone and Polaris Bank. This followed the dissolution of the board and management of the banks by the Apex Bank. In its report to President Bola Tinubu, the panel led by Jim Obaze recommended a forfeiture of the affected banks to the federal government. In a statement, CBN's acting director, corporate communications, Hakama Sidi Ali, stated that Olayemi Cardoso, governor of CBN, approved the new executives to oversee the affairs of the three banks, stating that the appointments take immediate effect. The police command in Gombe State said it had rescued 3 babies and arrested 16 suspects in the case of alleged child trafficking and criminal conspiracy. ASP Mahid Abubakar, Police Public Relations Officer, PPRO of the command, said this while briefing journalists on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, Hayatu Usman, in Gombe. According to the police spokesperson, the commandant received an intelligence report on one of the parents who sold her child to the alleged traffickers. Chief of Army Staff COAS Lieutenant General Tarid Lagbaja has cautioned soldiers against the abuse of social media, warning that the Army authorities will not take it lightly with any personnel who take to social media to denigrate constituted authorities. The Army boss who gave the warning while addressing soldiers driving a familiarization tour at the 14th Brigade Ohafia, Abia State, tasked soldiers with showing loyalty and respect for their core values of the Nigerian Army. Condemning the recent uncomplimentary remark by a one-way driver soldier against the governor of Lagos State, the COAS threatened severe sanctions against any soldier abusing the use of social media. The Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIG Federal Criminal Investigation Department, FCID, Alagbon, Lagos, Idowu Owohunwa, has called for critical utilization of forensic criminal data to carry out investigations. Owohunwa made the call while briefing officers and men of the FCID on the current initiatives of the IG to reinstate the department as a leading investigative agency in accordance with the rule of law and professional excellence, making emphasis on the empowerment use of intelligence-led tools to foster investigations. The AIG cautioned detectives against restoring to custodial violence, calling to them to respect citizens' rights and maintain a zero-tolerance stance on corruption and professional misconduct. The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, has said that the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas has necessitated the change from visits to biblical sites in Israel and Jordan to sites in Greece and Rome. Pam made this known while addressing journalists in Abuja and emphasized that the security and welfare of the pilgrims remain the prime concern of the NSPC. The Commission also stated that the new 3 million naira pilgrim course covering return flight ticket, hostel accommodation, 3-course meal per day, and tour of holy sites in executive luxury buses for the 6 nights and 7 days was exclusive of pilgrims' traveling allowances, while state and private pilgrims were expected to meet up with payments before the last day of January 2024. Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Mohammed Mara, retired, says the upgrade of the forensic laboratory of the agency by the United States Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs will enhance operational standard and optimal performance of NDLEA in its renewed fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking in Nigeria. Mara, who stated this in Lagos, said the facility is anticipating the provision of state-of-the-art analytical equipment to enhance optimal performance in line with standard operational laboratory procedures and best practices, which in turn will enhance evidence-based analytical processes in forensic analysis. The agency boss, who was represented at the event by the agency's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, emphasized the importance of modern forensic laboratories to the successful fight against illicit drugs in the country. You're watching News Express live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using at Global TV and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Express returns, despite $2.2 billion Afreximbank Bank's inflow, Naira continues to depreciate. The news continues shortly with details of these and more stories right after this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcasts of News Express. Thank you for staying with us. Former Minister of Power and Steel Olu Ogunloye has been granted bail in the amount of 50 million naira by Justice Jude Owebueze of the Federal Capital Territory FCT High Court in Apo on Thursday, January 11th. Ogunloye is facing 7 charges related to contract fraud and government misconduct. The judge had previously ordered Ogunloye's confinement at the Kuje Correctional Center pending a hearing and decision on this bail application. Adedikbe also contested the court's requirement for the Ogunloye to have a public official as a guarantor, stressing that the trial could continue even if the defendant absconds. The prosecution counsel opposed the bail application, but Justice Owebueze ruled in favor of granting the bail to the defendant. Still on court matters, the Supreme Court on Thursday reserved judgment on an appeal that the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and its candidate Ladi Adebetu filed to challenge the outcome of the governorship election that held in Ogun State on March 18, 2023. The appeal is seeking to remove Governor Dakpo Abiodun, who contested and was re-elected on the platform of the All Progressive Congress (APC) from office. A 5-member panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Iyango Koro, adjourned to deliver judgment on the electoral dispute after all the parties adopted their final briefs of argument. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) had declared that Abiodun of the APC polled a total of 276,298 votes to defeat its closest rival Adebetu of the PDP, who gathered a total of 262,383 votes. The Supreme Court on Thursday upheld the election of Governor Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State. The Apex Court, in an unanimous decision by a 5-member panel of justices, dismissed 3 separate appeals that were lodged to challenge Eno's emergence as winner of the gubernatorial poll held in the state on March 18, 2023. The appeals the Apex Court dismissed were filed by candidates of the All Progressive Congress (APC) Akinomo Uduafia, Young Progressive Party (YPP) Basi Akpan, and the New Nigerian People's Party (NNPP) John Odoedehe. Recall that the Court of Appeal in Lagos had on November 24, 2023, also affirmed Governor Eno, who contested on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as the valid winner of the gubernatorial contest in Akwa Ibom State. Following the growing insecurities along Abuja-Kaduna Express and kidnapping attacks on communities on that corridor, the Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Adeolu Egbetokun has implemented measures to enhance safety and security in the region. The IGP emphasized the need for collaboration between various security agencies and concerned communities in the region. He urged the public to remain vigilant, report any suspicious activities, and cooperate with security personnel, as a collective effort is crucial in maintaining the security and well-being of all residents and travelers. He assured the public that these strengthened security measures are part of an ongoing commitment to ensuring a secure and peaceful environment. Over now to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has secured the conviction of one Benjamin Ika, who was arraigned before Justice Emeka Iwete of the Federal High Court, Abuja. He was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment for his involvement in $1.6 million cryptocurrency fraud. The Commission disclosed this in a statement shared on its Facebook page on Thursday. According to statement, Ika pleaded guilty to 1-count charge. Justice Iwete convicted and sentenced him to 5 years imprisonment with an option for the fine of 5 million naira. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has invited civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations interested in observing the February rerun and by-election to apply via an online portal on or before January 17th. The Commission stated this in a notice issued by its Acting Director, Electoral Party Monitoring, Hawa Habib, in Abuja today. She added that INEC was conducting the by-election and a rerun election stemming from 2023 general election, as directed by various election petition appeal tribunals. On our foreign decks, dozens of people took to the streets in Cape Town on Thursday in one of the several demonstrations planned across South Africa in support of the government's genocide case against Israel. Lawyers for Pretoria are presenting their case at the United Nations top court in The Hague, where South African lodged an urgent appeal to force Israel to immediately suspend its military operations in Gaza. South African argues that Israel is breaking its commitments under the UN Genocide Convention, alleging the bombing and invasion of Gaza is intended to bring about the destruction of a substantial part of Palestinian national, racial, and ethnical group. The Congo River has risen to its highest level in more than 60 years, causing flooding throughout the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and killing more than 300 people over the past months. According to authorities, poor urban planning and weak infrastructure have made some African countries vulnerable to flash floods after intense rains, which have become more frequent due to climate change. On Wednesday, the river reached 6.20 meters, 20.34 feet above sea level, just shy of the 1961 record of 6.26 meters, adding that the flooding had followed exceptionally high rains island. In the neighboring Congo Republic, whose capital, Brazzaville, also sits on the banks across the river, at least 70 people had died in floods across 8 departments, including the capital, with more than 60,000 households affected. Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister declared a 14-day state of emergency in the capital on Thursday after 15 people were killed in riots as crowds looted and burnt shops. Violence erupted in Port Moresby on Wednesday evening after a group of soldiers, police officers, and prison guards launched protests over unexplained deductions to their pay. Within hours, the unrest had also spread to the city of Lae, about 300 kilometers, 186 miles to the north of the capital. The Prime Minister said 4 department chiefs involved in the payroll problem, the heads of personnel, finance and treasury, as well as Police Commissioner David Manning, had all been suspended for 14 days. The judge in Donald Trump's New York fraud trial has withdrawn permission for the former U.S. president to give a closing argument as the case concludes. Court filings showed Wednesday Trump stands accused of fraudulently inflating the value of his properties, and New York Attorney General Letitia James is seeking $370 million from him, as well as to have him barred from conducting businesses in the state. Both legal teams will begin to give closing speeches Thursday. Donald Trump, the fourth runner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination, and his 2 eldest sons are accused of fraudulently inflating the value of real estate assets to receive more favorable bank loans and insurance terms. And on business, despite recent efforts by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to bolster the foreign exchange market through interventions, the currency's downward trend persists, prompting concerns about its potential impact on the broader economy. The depreciation of the Naira's currency is despite the federal government receiving $2.25 billion foreign exchange support from the Afrim Bank as well as the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, offset of the $61.64 million Nigerian-owned Nigerian Airlines. A check on the Nigerian foreign exchange market NFEM window, which showed that on the day the CBN announced it received the funds, December 29, the Naira was purchased at 898 per dollar and sold at 899 Naira per dollar. The price increased on January 2nd to 930 Naira per dollar. It further went up to 960.9 Naira by January 3rd. The Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security said it is not in charge of the distribution of 57.8 billion naira worth of food palliatives approved for members of the National Assembly by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for onward distribution to their constituents. The Minister's Director of Information, Joel Oroche, said in a statement, this is contrary to the claim by the presidency that the president, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, distributed rice and other food items as palliatives to the lawmakers. The palliatives was raising dust as constituents had accused their representatives of hoarding. The presidency had, while showcasing Tinubu's scorecard in palliatives disbursement to Nigerians, said each senator gave 200 million naira worth of palliatives and 100 million naira for each member of the House of Representatives. Over to sports, top seed Novak Djokovic was drawn Thursday against a qualifier or lucky loser to begin his bid for an 11th Australian Open crown and could meet fellow Grand Slam champion Andy Murray in the 3rd round. The Serbian, who has won 24 majors, defeated Stefanos in the last year's final, then added the French and US Open title to his collection. But a 36-year-old will begin his defense under an injury cloud after a wrist problem hampered him in the United Cup, where he lost to Australian Alex de Minaur, Greek 7th seed has a tough task to repeat his 2023 feat with former top 10 Italian Matteo, his open opponent in Djokovic, a potential quarter finalist. As we end the Global TV News Express, here's a recap on some of our top stories again. Tinubu appointed new board management for Hajj Commission. Shettima intervened in Benue APC crisis. We also brought to you that IGP ordered deployment of additional police personnel along Abuja-Kaduna Expressway. And then we said Supreme Court upheld elections of Governor Eno. And we also told you that hundreds died as Congo River Basin rose to highest level in 16 years. And that's it on News Express, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using at Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. See you again.